I just want to give you a quick tip today on how I organize my drum kits whenever I purchase something or whenever I download something for free from someone that's been generous enough to put it together. What I like to do is layer my drums out in 4 pads. Really simple, but really effective. It keeps you organized. And so if you stay tuned, I'd like to give you that tip and hopefully inspire you to create more music. So stay tuned and I'll be right back. Here we have a bunch of drum sounds. Sorry about that. Percussions, claps, hi-hats, snares, and all that. And this is what I like to do sometimes to start working on a song and set myself up to what I hope is succeed in making that song. And so what I like to do is, let's just take this for example. Move that over here. Take that kick. Maybe take, you know what, why don't we just keep it all the same? Let me see. Alright, we'll take that snare. We'll take that hi-hat. We'll take this open hat right here. Okay. So, 4 drums. Out of all that file, I just narrowed down to just that, just real quick. Okay. Obviously, if you're working on something that you're already putting together, you want to hear those kick drums compared to what your instruments are like. But for the sake of example, we'll just use this 4, and then we'll load these up. Put the kick right here, and we'll put the open hat down at the end, and we'll put the snare right there. And there's a reason why I did that, and I'll show you in a minute. So we got a kick. Wait. Let me turn that shit down. All right. All right. So now we'll go into the program mode. Here we go. Let me move that out of the way real quick. We'll go into the program mode, and you'll still see, of course, all the pads and the 4 sounds that I loaded: kick, hi-hat, snare, and open hat. And so what I like to do is, if you go over here to the sample layers, you can layer these drums. So this is the level volume. It's all the way turned up. And so what I like to do to apply what I hope is going to feel more like a live play. I know I have drums back there. Don't judge me. Why don't you just use that? I do use that. Just calm down. So what I like to do is layer these drums out. So I'll put the kick again there, and I'll put the kick again there. All right. And then what I'll do is I'll turn these down a little bit, and this one even more. Okay. Now, right now, if you play that, it's just gonna be loud because it's set to velocity, so it's hitting at full rate. Okay. But if you come over here into layer play and you change that to cycle or random, we'll do cycle for the sake of this video for now. Then what you can do is when you hit the drum, if you notice, it starts going from the highest to the medium to the low. Okay. All right. We'll turn that top one down too. So as you can hear, it just gradually loses its strength of how loud it is. And you could do it in random, and it does the same thing, except it'll pick and choose one or the other. It could be loud twice, it could be soft twice. So, and that's also nice when you're playing that out. And then I'll go over to the snare. Oh, excuse me, the hi-hat. And I'll do the same thing, and we'll do that 3 times again. Again, we'll take all these volumes and we'll turn them down. All right. Now again, if I just play it from right here, what's going to happen is it's just going to be loud. So we'll come over here and change the velocity, or excuse me, the layer play to cycle, and then you can hear that difference of the 3 hi-hats. You know, let me make that extreme so you can really tell. So you can really hear the sound just changing the volume, going from the highest to the lowest. We'll go over to the next pad, the snare, and we'll again layer that twice, and we'll turn this one down maybe halfway. We'll put this one at 100. I think these are pretty loud already, so, and we'll leave that one about 50, so you can hear how loud that is right now, because it's just velocity, so I apologize for that. So cycle, loud, not that loud. And again, we'll do that with the open hat. And what it's going to do is when you play your drums out, it should create that variation, that slight variation should create some momentum within the drums, so they don't sound so static. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but you know, like that robotic, like, you know, when you, for example, the hi-hat, that you know, you got that going, like, it's just so static. It's just the same thing. It doesn't move. It doesn't, you know, the groove's there, but it just feels robotic. So with that little bit of a volume loss, every time you hit that pad, it'll create more movement. It's slight. It's not meant to be exaggerated unless you want it to be, because creating music, it's, you know, it's like, it's in the process is like whatever you think is right. You know, whatever sounds good to you. And you hope that other people catch that buzz and go, I like what he did there. So in this situation right here, and so what you're doing here is like, see. Let me turn all the levels down because they're really loud, man. All right. So in this situation, then now you have this set up so that the volume, and I'll turn it up to full level. So now you got this going on. Now, the reason why I set it up that way with the kick, hi-hat, snare, and open hat is because it's a good way to get yourself organized with your drums as you're playing them out. If you like finger playing the drums, which I do like doing that, sometimes I'll take loops and do that. Sometimes I'll just go back there and just do a real simple beat, and then I'll sample it and I'll do something different. This is what I've always known to do. So this is the way I go about setting myself up to make a song. And this is the most basic way to do it. There's all the things that you could do with the filters and the semitones, and you can get very creative with it, so that you'll have people wondering how did he just manage to pull that off, which is it's a cool thing, especially if it sounds good. So back to why I have it in this order. So if you're practicing finger drumming, then it's easy for you to just be able to go, you know, see that? I gotta look at it. Okay, so really basic. You can start off a song with that easy of a pattern right off the bat. Obviously, it's not that interesting just yet, but this is just a crash course on how you can get your drums to sound a little more live. So every time I hit these pads, you can hear that variation of the sound going up and down. Makes it feel like it's moving a little bit more than just keeping the level volumes all the way high on each one of those pads. So it's really just a simple thing that you can do. Next thing you can do, now again, this should translate across obviously any MPC machine, any software that has the simulation of pads, any control surface that you may have, whatever it may be. So you should be able to do this. And so what I like to do also is with the hi-hat and the open hat, you could take that hi-hat and you can mute right here. You see the mute target here? You could take that and go to A4. Okay. So now what happens is that when you hit this, while this is playing, excuse me, that'll cut it right off. See, if you notice before, it just kind of played through. So let me turn it off, and you can hear, if I hit this, so you can hear that tail end, right? if you put the pad on mute every time you hit that pad, so you're telling this pad to mute this pad as you hit it, then you get this. See how I cut it off? Okay, and that kind of makes it feel like, you know, like when you're doing that, that you're playing some, like, could be some live drums. Again, I know I have live drums back there. This is just something I like to do. But some people don't have live drums set up in their studio, in their home studio. So, you know, this is a nice way to like get that feel of it. And you can get really creative with this. This is the cool thing about this. Like, it doesn't have to be just this way that I put it together. This could be, hopefully, gives you an inspiration or an idea to go, you know, I like what he did there, but let me just change this and that. And if you do that, share it with me because I want to know. I like to learn myself. This is just me sharing to like any new person that would like to learn how to layer their drums on any machine type setup, MPC type setup, drum machine, whatever. And so this is the way that I like to do it. And like I said, you can get crazy and you can do whatever you want around this pad. So that's basically it, guys. Then obviously, then you want to save. Once you got it tuned up to the way you like it, you might, you know, you'll want to save that, and they rename those, you know, kicks, hi-hats, and all that, and name that as a certain file so that you can just pull that up and it'll always be right there for you, so that when you're ready to make a song, you pull that up. Now what I'll do is after I turn this off, I'll go through and fill all these up so they do have the same general idea of the kick, hi-hat, snare, open hat, and any other percussions I may want to put in there, so that it's ready, available for me to just be able to load it in, turn up some instruments, or maybe put on the loop, find some samples, and then start going at it with the drum. So I hope that helps anybody out that is wondering, you know, how you can get your drums put in a certain order, or if you ever thought about it. Only reason why I say that is because in the beginning, back years ago, when I started to learn how to do this, was you know, you get a kit, you just kind of load it, and you know, you have your kick here, your hi-hat down here, your snare over here, and you were just all over the place. And you know, you still made songs, and that's fine. You know, I'm not criticizing that, because I made songs doing it that way too. But it's a good thing to keep yourself organized, and then it'll keep your folders organized, and then you always can go to that and start making stuff right away, instead of spending 10-15 minutes doing this. You already have it available, so that you can just open up some instrument tracks or samples or loops and just go at it. So that's my tip for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Also, thank you to those that have subscribed. I really appreciate the love. Please stay tuned for other videos. Sound Contagious, LA. I'm out.